Hi, and welcome to Across the Desk. Well, on Monday, they're going to propose new maps for our congressional districts, U.S. Congress, state legislative representatives, and senators. And the interesting deal is not so much the statewide office holders, but the U.S. congressional districts and how they're going to change right here on Across the Desk. So, Greg Treat has been putting out a statement saying that we want your input as far as how it's going to be, that we're going to take this census data and we're going to create new congressional districts, because we've had some places in some rural areas that have a lost population, while certain areas in the urban areas like Oklahoma City and Tulsa have seen an increase in population. So that skews the numbers. We've got to move some districts around. Well, for the most part, now on the state level, like I was saying in the introduction, the Senate and legislative representative state seats, they're not going to change a whole lot. But like I also said, over the last 20 years, the last two times, or the last 30 years really, the Republicans have really been able to get in there and really gerrymander out districts to their liking. Like, for instance, Senator Nathan Dahl's seat. I mean, this guy's so radical and everything else, you wonder why can't Democrats get anybody to run against him? They haven't. He's been able to win every time because he just walks in. Nobody can run against him. And you think he's so radical, somebody should be able to do it. Well, the problem is, it's so gerrymandered out that you can't get a Democrat to run in it because they can't raise any money. And that's a big part of running a political campaign, is being able to raise money. Well, when potential donors look at a gerrymandered district like Nathan Dahl's district, they see the Democrat as the loser. You're going to lose. There's no Democrats in there. You're not going to win. They're all pretty radical. So they're not going to want to throw money at a losing horse. Nobody does. So it puts the Democrat, if they're going to run, in a really bad place to begin with. One, you got it so gerrymandered out that a Democrat's going to find it really hard to win anyway, 7-1. And then, on top of it, that if you do get a Democrat to run, they can't fundraise because nobody wants to bet on a losing horse. They're just not going to do it. So that is the reason why you get Nathan Dahl just walking into his seat election after election until he's termed out. And that's what we got right now with Senator Nathan Dahl. Right there. And why he keeps getting in there. And it goes on to something else that I'll get to later. But really, here we have a new map. Census comes out. We have to do it every 10 years. Something we have to do. And lo and behold, they gerrymandered the U.S. congressional map that they just put out. Now they just put this out, just the other day, right before they're going to vote on it. And it's the only map they didn't put out. See, they put out the other map so you could see them. But it was the U.S. congressional district map that they didn't show. And there was hardly any transparency on this. Now, you got Treat out there saying how transparent it is. We want it to be bipartisan and we want your input. But it's a bunch of baloney. And I'll tell you why. Because Republicans in the state of Oklahoma hold the power. See, it's the House of Representatives in the state that get to decide how our maps are going to be. And how is the breakup of our state's legislature? Well, we have 19 Democrats in the House of Representatives. 19 against 84 Republicans. 84. That's how many. That's the ratio of Democrats to Republicans. 19 to 84 in the House of Representatives. And you go, wow, how come Democrats can't get people to win races? How come there's only 19 Democrats? Well, because a lot of it's been gerrymandered around. And it goes into a real deeper issue with conservative values. See, conservative values, they don't care about the republic or democracy. What's the value of conservatives is to win, to gain power, and to keep that power in any way, shape, or form that you see fit. Because they're conservatives. And they're allowed to, I guess. That's what they think. No, seriously, you saw it on January 6th. It's the whole thing. The whole thing about that. I mean, these people in these other states, these election officials had phone calls, death threats, and everything else. Hey, you need to make sure the Republican wins. So that tells you right there, it's not about democracy, which they already say they hate. We already know Republicans, conservatives, hate democracy. They hate it. They don't like it whatsoever. They put it first paragraph, first sentence in their platform, and they italicized it for emphasis, that they hate democracy. But this goes further, see, because this is about our representation. See, these representative districts are about representation. And do you think that 19%, 18% of the electorate, because that's what that is, we have roughly about 18% of the people in our legislature are Democrats. The rest are Republicans. Over 82, 85% are Republicans. Now, do you think there's only 15 to 18% of Republicans in Oklahoma? No, there isn't. As a matter of fact, it's near 40%. Near 40% are registered Democrat. Now, the weird deal is only really 42, 43 are registered Republican. So it's not really a whole big percentage increase. The rest are independent and libertarian. So there's not really a big, huge percentage difference between a Republican and Democrat. Registration-wise, there really isn't. So why does the representation don't look like that in the halls of our legislature and with our Senate and representatives at the state? Because it's been gerrymandered. See, the districts have been gerrymandered. And they've already been gerrymandered for the last 20 years. They've been gerrymandered. So here we are for a third time. They don't really need to do those. They're good. They're good with those. They don't need to change. Now we had to move some stuff around because we lost some population here and gained some there. But for the most part, we're not going to need to change them because we've already gerrymandered it out enough to where it almost looks bad that we gerrymandered it so much that we only have 15 to 18% of Democrats being represented in the state. It's a big black eye. It really is. They even talk about it. Greg Treat talks about it. It's one of the reasons why he put out this little thing talking about, oh man, we want your input. We want it to be bipartisan, kumbaya. Of course, really, on the committee, they only have two, three Democrats. That's it on this, map drawing commission. Everybody else is a Republican. So there's your bipartisanship. We have 18% Democrats, 82% Republican, and that's bipartisan all the way, totally. And that's what Greg Treat thinks, or at least wants you to think. And it's really, it's pretty cowardly on its face to even want to suggest that, in my opinion. That's just what that is. It's another lesson of conservative cowardice right here from Greg Treat. And we know he's a coward, obviously. The man did this in response to Nathan Dahm, who I talked about earlier, who said a rude joke. So what was his response? A tweet. Greg Treat put out a tweet, and that's all we got on it. No, just a tweet saying, we don't approve of this, we don't think it's right, and that's all you get. No censure on the floor, no anything, no slap on the wrist, no nothing. Because secretly down inside, it's conservative value to do things like Nathan Dahm did. It's one of their values. They actually champion it. It's something they actually believe in. It's something they do. And that's exactly why we only get a tweet out of it and nothing else. Because, Greg Treat doesn't want to, go against his base or the base of whoever he thinks is voting for him because he's a coward. So that's why we get what we got with this statement he put out saying, I want it to be bipartisan and we want your input. But then we're going to come back and we're not going to give you anything on the U.S. Congressional stuff. And they're going to talk about how transparent it is. It's so transparent. We're so transparent because they were with the Senate and the representative seats. They were very transparent. Why not? We'll be transparent about that. The only thing is the U.S. Congressional seats. Not transparent. They just put it out. So here we go. District 5. Look at this. Here's the new proposal for District 5. Now I want to show you a few things in here. One, here's the old district for 5. It's mostly Oklahoma County, right? And we got a bit of Pottawatomie County over here where we get Shawnee in because we want to dilute it out with some rural people. Well, we had a population shift. We got to change some things up. And Kendra Horn won. So hey, we had a Democrat actually win this seat last time. And man, the last time it was a really close vote. It was close. It was real close. Stephanie Bice won by a margin. So it wasn't like a landslide victory for Republicans. So that scares Republicans, see, because they want the power and the control. See, they don't care about the Republic. They're actually against it. They hate the Republic too, because that's what gerrymandering is. It's about skewing the representation so that your side will win. See, so this way we have 100% representation by Republicans, 0 by Democrats. And this way they can control the agenda in Washington. And that's what it's all about. You see, it's about controlling that agenda and forcing their conservative goals, their conservative ideology on everyone, as draconian and as backwards as it may be. And that's what you got. Because, see, they're really losing a lot of support. Most people in this country, they're not as conservative or as extreme as people like, say, James Lankford. They're not that extreme. He's way out to the right to these people. So most people in this nation are not into that. And conservatives know it. And in order to keep a hold of power, they have to gerrymander districts. Now, it's even worse than that. They'll go as far as, lie. Please say that I won. Find 12,000 votes. Say that I won. Screw the Republic. And that's exactly what Republicans are about. And that's what it shows with this gerrymandering scheme they have for District 5, where we're going to cut out the southwest part of Oklahoma City, and we're going to put it in the same congressional district as folks in Guyman, Oklahoma, in the Panhandle. Because you know what? I'm pretty sure an urbanite in southwest Oklahoma City has the same congressional goals, the same congressional needs as a rural guy living out in the Panhandle of the state. So when you see that type of skew, you know it's gerrymandering. And you know it's because of power and control. And that's what Republicans are all about. They could care less about the Republic. They could care less about it. We already know, like I said, they hate democracy, but they could care less about the Republic too. And this just goes to show that. Because this is what they're going to do. Not only are they going to take out the southwest part of Oklahoma City and put it with a district that covers the Panhandle, they're also going to add in parts of Logan County to the north, and then we're going to go over to Lincoln County and add it in, and Pottawatomie County, and all these rural areas out to the east, halfway to Tulsa. We're going to add that into Oklahoma City as well. And so that's what they're going to do, which is wild on its face, because you look at that, and then you go over here and you look at Tulsa's district, and you're going, I know there's something messed up here. This doesn't look right at all. And you're thinking, how can this district be so big, containing probably way more people than you think in Tulsa? And you look at Tulsa County, it's almost just Tulsa County that's covered in one district. Whereas they're thinking Tulsa County is a lot more conservative. We're on the northeast corner of the state, and it does tend to be a little more conservative, more ran like a more rural town than a big city. And that's what you get with the Tulsa area. But it is more progressive. There are Democrats there, and it's actually got a pretty good amount of Democrats in Tulsa. So I'm not really sure the game on that, but I'll just have to see, because I know Republicans looked at this, and you know they did it to protect their power. That's what it is. And that's what all this is when it comes to District 5 and how they changed it so badly. That's what they did. And they did it so that they can dilute out the minorities in Oklahoma County, the minorities in Oklahoma City, and the general liberal urban population that lives there. That's exactly what this is, because see, Kendra Horn won and they got scared. And she even says in a post, hey man, how she's disappointed in this. I'm disappointed in this map, but I'm going to disagree with her. Like it says, she said, hey man, this is bad for our democracy. You know, actually the democracy is still going to work. We're still going to get the vote. We still get one vote. Everything's going to work just like that. But like I said, this is the Republic that they're attacking. It's not the democracy that they're attacking. It's the Republic, because that's what this is all about. See, we're cutting up these districts so that we can get representation, you see, and the Republicans are cutting it up in just any way that they feel they want to. Well, that's how that goes. This is Across the Desk with Kit Fairchild, and we'll see you next week.